Hello everybody, how are we doing? Are we live? Let's hope so. Let's have a little look up here. We are live. Welcome to another stream. I haven't had a tinker with my FPL team for a week or two, and for those of you that saw I was on stream with James this week on Planet FPL, check it out if you haven't already, as well as all the other great content. And I thought I should probably have a little play with my team, have a little tinker. 2 weeks to go. Saw Leon Bailey scored, Jadon Sancho scored, so felt like a good opportunity to have a little play and see what I could get to with my FPL team. Afternoon, FPL Glasto, good to see you, my friend. So this is where I was at last time. Basically, I was looking at a Game Week 1 bench boost. I think I've decided against a Game Week 1 bench boost simply because in my head, my reasons for the Game Week 1 bench boost was get it out of the way, get it done, wildcard out into something else. But I think I've decided I don't really like the options. I don't really like the fixtures. So I'm just going to wait for later in the season, see if a 4.5 forward emerges, see if a 4.0 goalkeeper emerges. And at that point, I'll play it more opportunistically, hopefully off the back of a wild card, either first, second, third. We'll see what happens with that. So I'm just going to have a little play. I probably won't be streaming for ages today, but it feels like a good opportunity to have a crack and see what we can get to. So straight away, the big sacrifice I made before was Tierney. I bought him in instead of Robertson because I wanted to free up cash for this third forward slot, which I don't actually really want anymore. So what I'm going to do is bring those players back in line with what I want position-wise. So let's get in Archer. I think is a decent shout. Obviously, Delap could be going to Southampton, so that's one to watch. But I think probably Archer or Greenwood are probably the picks. The only thing is if I go for Leon Bailey as well, that takes up 2 Aston Villa spots. So I'll go for Greenwood for now. They're basically going to be my third sub anyway. So I'm happy enough with those two at the top. And really, I just wanted to have a little play and see what I could get to if I bought in Jadon Sancho. So I'm happy with that backline. And the other thing that I'm going to try also is what does it look like if I go without Salah? Because of this potential Jota injury, I'm quite interested to see what I could get to. So let's just, this is the sort of, if I go back to where I'm at, just to remind myself what, and you, I suppose, what this team looks like. This is where I'm at as my first choice 11. So I've got Gordon as a very, very strong first sub with Pereira as a second sub. And basically that would be my first 11. Kulusevski and Saka are very much placeholders. I'm actually slightly, if Foden was on this Man City tour, I think I'd be thinking Foden would be very likely in there. But as he's not, I'm not willing to go there yet. But definitely one of those two guys could become Foden. Any of those 8 million, maybe Mount, could be any of those. So let's see what it looks like if I, what have I got in the bank here? So I've got $500,000 in the bank. So let's see if I go Man United, Jadon Sancho is 7.5. Let's see what happens if I downgrade one of those to Sancho. And if I go for Leon Bailey as my first sub. I'm obviously not convinced on Leon Bailey yet because it looks like he's definitely not nailed and he could struggle for minutes. But they've got a very, very good run of first few fixtures. And to be honest, I mean, his history's not great. But it feels like he could well be worth a punt to me as a cheap bench option. He may play some games, he may not play others. But, you know, if you're happy to take that, and he's going to be my first sub anyway. The only thing with having him first sub is I think he will come on off the bench, won't he? So he's not going to be someone who either plays 90 or plays 0. He'll be a player who might go 30, 70, that sort of thing. So I'm only going to stick with him if Gerrard gives us some indication that he's going to play. Now, Sancho, like I say, all of these videos, the whole point of it is this is just me doing all of my minutes of the season live. So this is my first look, really, since considering Sancho. It looks like Ten Hag might be getting something out of him. And at the start of last season, you know, he was around 10 million and we thought he was a good option. At 7.5, he could be an outstanding option. So they've got 3 out of 4. I would say those fixtures, obviously Liverpool's bad, but the 3 out of 4, I would say none of them are amazing. Like Brighton are obviously a good defence. Brentford and Southampton could be fruitful, but you know, they're not easy fixtures, are they? So there's definitely a case to say just wait and see on him. And I think I'll probably band him in with the sort of the Bowens, Maddisons, Mounts, Fodens, Sakas, all of that bunch of players. I think it's going to be 2 of those players for me, most likely. but he definitely looks like a decent enough option. So let's see what we got there. So that's 1.5 million. So pretty much, Perisic is another one who I think needs to go, sadly. So let's see what happens if I go for a Nico Williams type. I'll show you my watch list for defenders. And in fact, these two have worked their way onto my watch list. So let's pop him on. And we'll pop him on. These are players I'm now officially considering. So this is my watch list. Does that take... Oh, that's not my defensive watch list. I'm just aware that when I click on watch list, I've got a second page. So are there any other defenders in that? So I've got Trippier as well in the mix here. So Trippier or these guys, or it'll be Nico Williams just as a budget option. Those fixtures, there's obviously quite a bit of green there. The away fixtures are all really good, but Chelsea look like they're struggling to pull a defence together as well, and that Tottenham game isn't great. So, yeah, I don't feel like super excited about Chilwell at 6 to begin with, I don't think. Tierney, I think, is a good option at 5. Let's pop Tierney back in as a 5 million option. So that saves us 2 million. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking if I could get to a premium Man City asset, like a Haaland, who is not on my watch list. He's someone who I said I wasn't considering. Because, yeah, I mean, those fixtures are so good. I just think his minutes are going to be managed, and I think I might be in that place at the moment with Haaland where I'm feeling the fear a bit too much. So I need to manage my fear rather than necessarily just chucking him in the team. Mahrez is another one. If it looks like he's going to be in the team, 100% I'll get him on my side. But again, this is just a sign where we're at with FPL this season. There's just lots of different ways to skin this cat. If I did go for him down to Diaz, and I could move Wilson to Haaland. Wilson to Haaland, and then Salah to Luis Diaz. Obviously, losing Salah is a huge blow to the team. But that gives me 3 million. Ideally, I'm looking for a way then to do the Spurs Man City captaincy rotation. Can't really manage that. I think this is the thing for me. One premium, I think I'm pretty set on one premium, because even looking at this, it's like the sacrifice I have to make. I love having these sorts of players in my team here in the middle of the pitch, and once you introduce one premium, more than one premium, it just becomes unaffordable, I think. I wonder what it would look like if I went for Son in the middle there as my only premium. And then I could go for Tony and Wilson. So I could manage something like this. That looks pretty nice. As like a good solid 5 at the back. 4 outstanding midfielders and 2 very solid strikers. So basically I could manage a benching with no problems whatsoever with that sort of a team. So that looks like a really nice team to me, because I've got 5 outstanding players who are pretty much, you would think, are nailed until Tierney gets injured. And in fact, I think I'd be more tempted to start off with Zinchenko, just because... Oh, he's still at Man City. Just because I think Tierney is an injury waiting to happen, isn't he? And I think if I go Zinchenko, then I've got that solid... He's going to play every game. He's such a good player, Zinchenko. I think he's so underrated. So that gives me him there. And that's a really nice looking team then, where I can afford a benching, or I can afford to, for instance, bench Sancho against Liverpool. The only thing is game week 3, Wilson's got a tricky match too. So that would be something to think about. But that sort of team to me looks absolutely outstanding, to be honest. Yeah, love it. So that's definitely one way of doing this thing. Another, I think we need to see. So this is one. I'm just going to screenshot it for my own sake so that I can come back and refer to this as one of my drafts. I'm not going to be on here for very long, I don't think, because I just wanted to see what this looks like. And it's interesting, isn't it? I think that's pretty strong. Is there any way that I can do Salah? And Son. So let's look at a 2 premium draft. 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 If we go down there to Nico Williams, just to see, the problem is you quickly end up just massively downgrading all over the squad just to get that second premium in, who I'm probably not going to captain when I've got Salah anyway. So I'd need to be downgrading basically Sancho or Saka and ending up with a bench of Nico Williams, Greenwood. I just don't see myself going down the 2 premium route as much as I like the idea of it. Oh, hang on, that's a bug, isn't it? Gordon 7.5, that's not right. Kulusevski 12, that's not right. What's going on here, FPL? Let's refresh that page. Ben McCrummy, afternoon Ben. Team looking good, mate. I've got a similar dilemma with Perisic, just not confident with him to start. That's exactly how I feel in terms of, with Perisic, I just felt like he is absolutely the first name on my team sheet this season, literally ahead of the likes of Trent and Salah, because I think he's such good value. But the way that he's lack of minutes in pre-season is just, it's not good, is it? And I just don't think you can trust him. Now they've got a really great run from 3 to 6, and this is another thing where it's like once we hit that 3 to 6 window, Wolves at home, Forest away, West Ham away, Fulham at home, I can't imagine a world where I don't want 3 Spurs players for that run. Now there is an argument, I think, let's just have another little play here. Why does it reset my team back to that? Is that what I had it on? Okay, let me just have a quick little jiggle around. Well, I'll say what I'm going to do is to come up, if I went for a team that was focused around getting 3 Spurs, 3 City and 3 Liverpool, let's see what we can get to there, because ultimately those fixtures are awesome for all 3 of those teams. I would say they're the best 3 teams in the league now, in my opinion. So there's just 3 City there with a 8 million mid, Foden or Mahrez, Cancelo, Diaz, then Robertson, Trent and Salah as a premium. So this is going to have to be a two premium draft, I think. And then we go for Perisic, and let's say, can we do this? Let's try. Son and Kulusevski. There we go. We've got 5, 4, and then what can we get up top? Oh, we're going to be short, aren't we? So pretty much the conclusion there for me is you can't really get to it. I mean, you could look at, for instance, Jed Spence as a 4.5 and go for a Spurs double up at the back if he's going to play, or you could let's be safer and put that in as a 5 million slot and look at Romero. I think even then you're looking at, I mean, it could be amazing, to be fair. It's nice and differential, which I like. So you've got a solid 5, and then you've got 4 in midfield, including Son and Salah. Up top, though, absolute junk. Like, truly terrible. Forwards, it's just not quite affordable, is it? But, I mean, in my mind, this shouldn't be affordable, this sort of a team. But it's so close to being affordable, it is a bit crazy. Oh, Rondon. And he might play a few games for Brighton and Ciso, maybe. So you got, obviously that's not workable as a draft because it's that forward spot is just a mess. So that's good to try it though, good to know what's possible. So in effect the learning there is, if we want 3 Spurs, 3 Man City, 3 Liverpool, you're going to have to make a downgrade somewhere. I mean, what's Van Dijk? 6.5. I think Robertson's well worth the extra 0.5 over Van Dijk. These 3 boys here are basically nailed in my team, I think. And I'm very keen on Ruben Dias as well. So not going to do that. Let's go back to what I had before as a little draft there. So I had Zinchenko, who is still under Man City. Sort it out, FPL. Where are we at now? So a 0.5 down there. So if I went for I mean, you could, so with talking about 2 premiums, could look at something like Son and Salah there. Let's go for 1 up top as Tony. I mean, I don't love this. Because if Tony doesn't feature unexpectedly, I'll be down to 10. But this is what pre-season is all about for me, is just having a little play and seeing what sides you can get to. So you've got 5.5 options there. Breuer looks like that deal's not happening. Mateta, let's say. Might get a Crystal Palace team leak as well on that first match season. So this is actually not horrendous. Let's see. I'm just going to pick a random 4.5. I'm never going to pick him, but and then I've got 5, 3. Oh, and then I'd have to start Mateta, or go for a Gordon, but then you're left with 2 4.5s. Cheers, Ben. Have a good afternoon, mate. I'll probably only be tinkering for another 10 minutes or so. This is just to give me an idea of the sorts of things I could do. And I think I'm definitely heading towards the fact that the second premium is just weakens the rest of the team too much. Gordon, Perisic and Tomiyasu doing my head in. Yeah, Gordon is definitely one who... Perisic and Tomiyasu I'm not going to go for because I think those injury doubts are just too much. You don't need that game week 1, mate. Just forget about it, in my opinion, and see where you're going. You could go for Ben White over Tomiyasu or other options. There's loads of good 4.5s. Perisic again, like from game week 3 maybe, but I think we need to see him get up to speed first, coming off an injury. Gordon, I think, is still a solid option, to be honest, even though Everton are terrible. We know Everton are terrible, but he's their main man. So when they do score goals, and they're going to score at least 20 or 30, he should be involved. So if I look at, again, if I put that back to Wilson, and then I've got that 8 million slot there. So I've got a solid 5, I've got a solid 3, and I've got a very good 2 as well. I'm going to look at Gabriel Jesus, I think. His ownership is sky high at the moment. But for 8 million, I think... I really like Callum Wilson. But the reason that I think I'm just going to edge towards Gabriel Jesus in my 1 premium model... One thing, Wilson starts with an excellent fixture. Then 2, I think that's tricky, Brighton away. Not terrible, but tricky-ish. I don't think it's green. Man City and Liverpool obviously are really difficult, and Wolves away, they can be quite stubborn. The reason I think Gabriel Jesus, if you're going 1 premium, is because of this game week 3 when Salah plays Man United, which could be a difficult game. We don't really know yet. Jesus plays Bournemouth away, which I'm confident will not be. That fixture run is just so tasty for a striker. So I think if I look there at Gabriel Jesus, I've got then that first midfielder slot as first sub basically. Can be whoever, and you can get a really strong first sub. So Tony's fixtures I like. I think they're good. I don't think it matters too much for him either. So in effect, what I've really circled back round to here after softening up my bench piece is in effect the same draft. But that's what tinkering's all about, isn't it? You try some things. It's like you give it a go. Obviously, I was talking about Sancho at the start. It would have to be probably between Sancho and a midfield sub. Sancho and then a forward sub at like a Mateta, or Tony and Gordon, and put Sancho into one of these slots. But let's just say, for argument's sake for today, we'll finish off by looking at the last 2 things. If anyone's got anything they want to ask in the chat, feel free to fire it at me. Otherwise, I'm going to log off in the next few minutes. But let's say we want someone nailed as that sub slot. So Anthony Gordon leaves me 500,000. So it's either Gordon and Tony, or I look at something like a Sancho and a Mateta, let's say, as a 5.5. But, we'll see which 5.5 forward emerges. That's the sort of one you can jump on. But we may well get a Crystal Palace team leak on the day of that first match at least. But that slot could become a headache. So I feel a little bit risky about it. Obviously, Sancho, we don't know quite how he's going to perform as well. But that team looks tasty. 5 solid defenders, 4 great midfielders, a great striker, and then the subs. Okay, so I think actually overall I probably feel more comfortable for starting the season with Tony as a nailed option, 2 nailed strikers, if you'll forgive the pun there, and then 3 excellent midfielders, 5 very good defenders, a very solid first sub, a very solid second sub, and then a poor third sub, but that's absolutely fine. They shouldn't be needed. I think that looks pretty good. It won't let me save it, obviously, because of Zinchenko, so I'm just going to change Foden out for, say, Saka as a placeholder mid. But again, in terms of which 8 million mids I get, I think I'm just going to wait for more data on that stuff. But I wanted to have a little play and see where we ended up, with. And yeah, so that's probably the end of me tinkering. If you've got any more questions, stick them in now. Otherwise, I'll log off there. So yeah, this season, like, if you don't know, I'm doing every single second of my FPL season is live, so that's why I'm doing this stuff. And that's what my Game Week 1 side would look like. And I feel like, do you know what? I like that a lot. It looks solid. Obviously, that Zinchenko fixture will become Crystal Palace away. I'm not wild about that as a Game Week 1 fixture for Arsenal. But the run that comes, I think, is worth it afterwards. So potentially, how much have I got in the bank? 0.5. I could look at upgrading that Gordon slot, even though I quite like Gordon at that price, to a different mid who's going to play. I mean, Aston Villa played Bournemouth Game Week 1. If we get the indication Bailey's playing, then I think he'd be a fantastic option in that slot. 6 million. I mean, which of these players can we really trust to play? That's the big question. Like Martinelli, actually, I know he's not nailed. Having said I'm looking for a nailed slot, I actually think he's a player who I'd love to have. So that would leave me. I'm not going to have. It would mean I can't get Saka, but like I'm totally fine with that. It does mean a double up on Arsenal attack, which I'm not wild about. But I feel okay with that. Let's say we go for Maddison instead. Pretty sure Leicester have got a nice run of fixtures. Well, actually, it's not that nice, is it really? But it's not terrible. Let's see, maybe Mason Mount. Nice, solid, boring FPL option like him. The other thing is if I could stretch the budget a little bit to reach myself up to Raheem Sterling, for instance, is another thought, as a sort of slightly sub-premium option. And yeah, I think that looks... Let's settle that there for now. Warnock, do you have any plans to stream SkyFF at all? Probably not, Warnock. I did think about it. One of the things about Sky, I'm generally not too secretive. Like, I'm happy to share my team, but maybe I will if people want me to do it and will be interested. Then I will. I mean, I'm going to be doing the tinkering, so for me, I may as well. If people want to watch it, I may as well pop online. There's just so many more people who are interested in FPL in general. So I might do it. I'd probably do it on a separate channel just to keep it clean, so that it's separate. On my last stream, I think it was, I did show a little bit of my Sky team. But yeah, potentially up for it. Not going to do it now, I don't think, and I definitely won't be doing every second of my Sky tinkering. But yeah, this looks solid, doesn't it? So if I put Zinchenko on the bench for that first game of Crystal Palace away because I don't like that fixture that much, that looks like a pretty solid first team to me. I mean, the thing about this is one premium model, I've basically got goalkeeper solid, 2 unbelievably good attacking defenders, 3 if you include Cancelo, so 3 unbelievably good attacking defenders. I've got Diaz, who plays for the best defence in the league, or the joint best defence in the league. I've then got a really good attacking midfielder there. Two really good attacking midfielders who play for 2 of the strongest teams. I've got Salah, outstanding permacap. Martinelli can be explosive, but obviously a bit of rotation risk. And I've got 2 talismanic forwards, who are both probably on pen. Certainly Tony is. Then Zinchenko going to play pretty much every game you'd imagine, and Pereira as a solid second sub. I really like that a lot, so I'm going to save that team for now, and probably leave it there. The only weakness of that is there's only 2 Man City. Don't really like that, and I would like more Spurs too, but I guess you can't have them all, can you? Yeah, I didn't mean every time you look at it, but just every now and then would be cool. Yeah, okay, I'll definitely pop some on. Do you know what? What I might do right now is I'm just going to open a new tab, which you shouldn't be able to see, which will log me in. I don't know if you can see this or not. Can you see me logging in now? Let's have a quick look. Okay, so can you see that? Okay, so FPL wise, if you're interested in FPL, you can stop watching now because I'm done with that. Let me see if you can see this. Okay, looks like you should be able to see it. We'll have a quick look at SkyFF. I'm just going to quickly I'm just going to pop it in a little chat I'm in. To join. So I'm just letting the guys know that I'm in a Sky group chat. I'm just letting them know that I'm here. So I'm just going to have a quick play with my Sky team. So let's have a look. So Sky, if you didn't know, because I keep banging on about it, I came second last year in Sky. I really haven't I haven't spent long with this, but I'm pretty sure I feel like the spots that I think I'm pretty set on are, so if I get rid of that, Tony, I suppose I'm not totally set on Tony. These 6 players here, I'm pretty sure will be in my Gameweek 1 team. And then I want an Arsenal asset. It won't be Tomiyasu. Yeah, sorry, Warner. The Sky group chat I'm in is full because they've put a cap on it. So that one is full, but there's plenty of people who are keen on it, to be honest. So quite a few people have asked me about that because I mentioned it on the Planet FPL stream. So potentially I could sort of open up another one for people. Lee, hi Lee. No Salah at the moment because I feel like I had this Liverpool triple up block, and I felt like actually that felt like really good to captain Van Dijk and to go punch against Salah. Obviously he's an amazing pick, of course. It's just that thing of you can't have everyone, and I really want Van Dijk and Cancelo. Let's see what it would look like if I had Salah in. Sky's so much harder than FPL. It's so much harder, and I feel like you've just really got to make those sacrifices, don't you? I don't mind Awani actually at 7 million. I feel like he's a decent enabler, but this is where I'm now sacrificing like Robertson to get to Salah. Is that worth it? I'm not sure. How much is Luis Diaz? 10.1. They've priced him decent. I mean, yeah, it's really tricky here because what about Zinchenko? He's 8, I think, isn't he? I'd be fine with Zinchenko. If he's starting that first game, I'd be fine with him as my Arsenal asset instead of Jesus. I just think for me, it's all about the defence. I love the expensive defenders. Do you know what? John Stones is one I definitely haven't ruled out because of question marks over Diaz and Laporte. If there's still question marks over those guys, especially Diaz, because Ake can fill at left centre half as well, then I definitely consider John Stones. That defence looks super tasty. But then again, it's like, right, because of the players I've got here, I'm now looking at a 7.2 forward. Yeah, Bruno Guimaraes is definitely going to be in my team. He is 100% nailed for me. Oh, Delap at 6.6 could be interesting if he goes to Southampton. But again, I don't want these players in my team, do I? Let's be honest. Like Mateta, Luke Williams was talking, did a pod, mentioned Mateta, and he is a really good pick, he thinks, as just a budget option to stick in there. But when you look at that points tally, I'm not so interested myself. Little side point, Aaron Connolly from Brighton, he's joined Venezia on loan this season in Serie B. I don't think we will ever be putting him in our fantasy teams again. I think he's done as a Premier League player. So yeah, that's basically, this is the thing with Salah, right? I really do want Son as an outstanding Spurs asset. I'm pretty set on Son. And I think looking at this, it makes me think I've got to choose between Salah and another premium defender. I think I prefer the safety of the Liverpool boys. I mean, Tsimikas can play, of course, but I think I prefer for now something similar-ish to what I had there, like that as a back 5. Who did I get rid of? Who was there before? Just going to go back and see who I had before. Tomiyasu, yeah, he can definitely go. So, Allison, so I've got that. Rodri, Son, Gamara, so I'd have to downgrade there. And then as a striker, let's have a little look. I guess it's how far down the list am I willing to go with the strikers. Watkins 9, Tony 8.6 I like. Callum Wilson 7.9 and Bamford 7.9. Obviously fitness concerns over them. Those are two players I'd definitely consider. And then Mitrovic could come into consideration at 7.7. I don't really like any of these options. Awani at 7 I think is really good value. He's definitely the cheap one that I would be looking at. And I think he's a good enabler. So let's say, just for instance, if I went for Callum Wilson as the next cheapest player that I like. Luke also talked about, actually, when you've got a player like Awani, the problem is if he gets injured in this formation, I need to find a replacement for him. And all of a sudden, I'm really scraping the barrel looking at the sort of players. I mean, Sam Surridge could come into consideration if he got injured. But again, I don't want Sam Surridge. I don't really want Liam Delap if he goes to Southampton. That is a problem. There's not really anywhere to run from him. And then immediately looking at two transfers to get out of it. And again, let's have a look at what premium mids I'd be considering. I mean, Sterling at 10 is an attractive proposition, I think. Bowen, I think, is a really good pick at 9.6. All of these guys are good. Saka, Mount, Maddison, all of them I'd be happy with. Foden I'd be happy with. Mahrez, if he's playing, I'd be happy with. Sancho's looking in good form. Kulusevski. I mean, there's a lot of good midfield options around that price tag. Rashford 8.1. I've heard Tom Hartner was mentioning him, I think it was earlier. Martinelli 8. He just feels like an FPL player and he's not nailed, and I don't think I'll go there, but he could be really good. Let's have a look at who else we got on this list. Jesse Lingard's there at 7.9. Bentancur 7.8, possibly. Probably not. I mean, Fabinho at 7.7 could be value. Fred, Liam, Dorian was talking about Fred as a good option. I'm not sold personally. Basuma at 7.5 could become an option, but I wouldn't want to start with him, I don't think, just to see how Spurs midfield shapes up. So this is the thing, Bailey, people are talking about, again, more of an FPL player for me, but not going to hit the bonus points. This is the thing where, again, now going down the list, scraping the barrel, you're looking at Aribo, could be interesting. That might be a bit of Southampton bias there. Pereira. Let's say if I went for Andres Pereira, what could I get to at the top of the pitch? 10.3. I don't really like those options very much, to be honest with you. I don't think it's worth having Andres Pereira in my team for that. I just want to see what midfielder emerges as the outstanding midfielder, and then I'll move to them. I think until then, I just want solid options, which is where, before I had Rodri, like, he is boring, but he's a good option, I think. That's why he's a good option, because he's boring. I mean, I could go for Sancho. His fixtures aren't amazing. Kulusevski, could he get rotated? Again, this is where the reason I like Rodri is because you'd think he's fairly safe. As long as he's fit, you should think he'd play. So Lee's saying, a similar team to me, I have 2 7 million players though. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I'd need to put in another enabler, wouldn't I, if I want to go for a better midfielder there. And James, I'm finding it a struggle to pick between many midfield options this year. More FPL, yeah. I mean, FPL wise, there's those 8 million mids are so good, and there's so many of them. It's just, I honestly think people don't like this because they are like, analyze the data, look at the fixtures. I think it's just a case to begin with. Pick whichever 2 or however many you have in that you think you've just got a hunch for that you. I just think there's so much, like there's a cigarette paper between like these ones here: Bowen, Saka, Mount, Maddison, Foden, arguably Mahrez if he's playing. There's just nothing between them. They've priced them well. They shouldn't be much different. And I think you just got to pick one and punt and hope for the best. Liverpool defender wise, Robertson's the cheapest. There is an argument, I think, to say with someone like Cancelo to go down a little to one of these guys. But again, I think he's going to be my Man City captain. I haven't got Haaland. Yeah, I think probably what I'm looking at, thinking just to try and eke that extra bit of budget out, would be to go Tony to Wilson. I don't think there's too much between them, to be honest. And then that leaves me 9.6 to pick one of those really excellent mids. It just means I can just stay at that slightly higher price bracket. So I could go for like a Bowen. Again, they've got great fixtures after that. Oh, that's rubbish. They've got great fixtures after that first one. So if I placehold like a Bowen or a Mount, I mean, Mount, 187 points, that's very good. You'd think Bowen might drop off a little bit, wouldn't you? I mean, I could go for Saka as an Arsenal pick, is another option. Go for him captaincy on the first night. I think he might be a bit of a differential. He's selected in 10.5% of teams, so he could be a good one. And oh yeah, that's a good shout actually. Lee Williams saying not considering Palinha, 6.6 budget option, picks up the tackles. That is a decent shout actually. He's one who I think, the problem with a player like that, I think you've got to resign yourself to the fact of like, they're probably a 2-point player, and anything else they get beyond that is a bonus. 10.9 as a forward, that doesn't get me to Haaland, does it? No. I mean, let's really eke in some stuff out here now. Again, I'm just falling short on these two players that I want, that I would really consider, who have got fitness concerns. But again, it's now like, right, I need to find another 0.2 somewhere, and I could go Robertson to Matip, but is Matip as nailed this season? We don't know that yet. I don't feel confident in that. I think Haaland, I just have to accept I can't get to him. And again, with the striker options, I'm actually not too pleased with the striker options in general. There's not too many players that I feel like I would really go for. You've got obviously Kane, Haaland, both going to be good. Vardy would, he's just solid. He's just good, isn't he? He performs. Jesus again, I think these guys will be good picks. Could look at a Vardy, something like that, if I go back him up to Cancelo. And this is the thing, probably what I need to look at is, if I'm saying that 5 probably is fairly set, my keeper's fairly set, Son, Bruno fairly set. In effect, what I'm doing with this team now is 3 slots and 2 budget slots and a premium, or 1 budget, 1 mid. 1 budget, 2 mids, sorry. So really I'm looking at one midfielder and 2 strikers to that thing, and I think I've just got to go round and just play with it and see what I get to. Yeah, James, pick the hill you're happy to die on. I think that's it. You just got to go for it. You also, James, like picking team's best player rather than a player who plays for a good team. I agree, I'm down with that. Pick the talisman. Can't stand this Man City 5-0. You check and your dude got 1 point. Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know, I haven't talked about where I expect Zinchenko to play, but I think he's a good option wherever he plays. I don't think he's an outstanding option, but for 8 million I think he's a good option, and you just got to manage your expectations of what you're getting for 8 million there, in my opinion. Like I say, if he's not going to be in the team, I'll definitely have a plan B if he's not in the team on the first night. But basically I think if it's not going to be him, I think I'd then have to be looking to spend more money on like a Gabriel Jesus type player. I mean, that's another option here as I go have a little tinker into the midfield. Look at all clubs. There was plenty of midfielders around that 9.4 price I was happy with. So I could look at like a Foden or probably a Maddison to begin with, is pretty nailed. Don't love the fixtures, to be honest. Or a Rodri. The thing is, while the season's settling down, I feel like it's quite a sensible option to go for someone like a Rodri, who you think is going to play. I mean, look at the consistency of that point scoring. This is what you want in a player, right? Whoops. That's what you want in a player, is someone who just drips in points. So if we go again, let's just go back to where I was because I unsaved it. That's something like that is super solid. Rodri is such a boring pick, but that's what I want to begin with. I want players. Look at that start of last season. Okay, didn't play the first game. I think we knew that was happening. But then you got 5, 12, and then you got a 1, and then he didn't play. I guess I'm making an argument against myself there in a sense. But again, if he got, what's that, 18 points over 3 starts, let's say that would have been a 5. I'm very happy with that. So I'm just going to start with that. I'm going to log off in just a sec. Any final questions, do give me a shout. But basically, I'm pretty much done there. And then that will give me a Zinchenko captaincy. Then I'd go for Van Dijk on that day as sort of. I got Son there as well though. Now the thing is, one of the things that I feel like mentally the way I play Sky is basically, what do I need to happen for me to do really well? That's the question. So for me, it's like, if I do this, what I need to happen for me to fly up the ranks is for Salah to stay quiet because he's going to be the most popular captain, and for Liverpool to keep a clean sheet. Obviously, I've also got Son, so if Son does well, I do well. But the question for me would be like, what's the greater benefit for me? If Liverpool keep a clean sheet, or if Son goes off? And I think probably with this setup that I've got here, I think probably I would want to double down on the one that I think is the most differential and the one that I think is going to give me the biggest impact. I think just owning Son is probably going to be enough. He is in 31% of teams. But these Liverpool defenders, we've got Van Dijk in 20, we've got Robertson in 10, we've got Alisson in 18. I think probably just owning Son will be enough for me. And I punt on Van Dijk as captain for that reason. And then obviously on this day, let's say Cancelo. Obviously I haven't looked at possibilities for making transfers in game week. We'll come to all of that stuff in time. But I think that's where I'm at. So I'm going to log off in a sec. Son loves playing Saints. He does. Very aware of that. Son playing against Southampton was the player who first led me to the top of the league on December the 28th last season. So I know what he can do in that fixture and in many other likewise fixtures. So I'm gonna log off there, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope it was helpful when you're thinking for either FPL or Sky. And I've had a nice time doing it. So, wishing you an excellent rest of Saturday. I'm going to go and have a swim in the sea very shortly. The kids are not here, which is nice. So I'm going to go and do that. I hope you have a nice Saturday. Enjoy it, and I'll catch you again soon. Cheers. Bye.